Listen to this guy, Isabaku, one of the greatest hitters of Igbo. Listen to his comment to the broadcast of Putin, and I will tell you a few things about it. Just listen.
А у нас через несколько секунд начинается разведение боевых блоков. И все, поезд ушел. Так что шансов никаких нет для того, чтобы сбить эти ракеты. Ну, а если вот те эксперты западные, про которых вы сказали, так полагают, пусть они предложат нам, и пусть предложат тем на Западе и в США, кто им платит за их анализ, произвести некий такой технологический эксперимент, ну, скажем, такую высокотехнологичную дуэль 21 века. Пусть определят какой-то объект для поражения, скажем, в Киеве. Сосредоточат туда все свои силы ПВО и ПРО, а мы нанесем туда удар орешником и посмотрим, что будет. Мы к такому эксперименту готовы. Готова ли другая сторона? Но мы в любом случае этого не исключаем, имея в виду, что все системы ПРО и ПВО все равно находятся у них в работе. И для нас будет интересно. Вот то, что я вам рассказал, это мне рассказывают инженеры, ученые, военные специалисты. Там на уровень политического руководства в Штатах тоже что-то рассказывают. Проведем такой эксперимент, такую технологическую дуэль и посмотрим, что получится. Интересно, думаю, что будет полезно и для нас, и для американской стороны.
You know what's so crazy about that claim he just made right now? There are two American officers, one a colonel, one a general, who came out to verify that yes, Russia indeed has a new missile called the Oreshnik that cannot be stopped. Even with all the advanced air defense, surface-to-air defense missiles, and all the advanced systems we have, Israel's Iron Dome, it cannot be stopped. You heard Putin, he said, if you really want to test, we can do a technological test. Pick a target. Put anything you want to defend that target. We will send our weapon and we will hit it. That's what presidents are doing right now when the world is new empires are being carved. What is Tinubu doing? Economy is bad. Food is expensive. Living is hard. But you will survive. There's nothing we can do. You will continue to endure. And Nigerians are like, Holy Ghost fire! Muslims are like, Allahu Akbar!
Yes, sir, you made a point. I agree with you. In this age, Nigeria is still begging for food. To such a point that Ukraine, that is fighting a war, is donating food to Nigerians. It is a shame. But the question is, the question I have for you is this. If you were given the opportunity to change things, would you have done that? If, say for instance, you find yourself in the position where Yakubu Gowon was, would you have made a better choice to better the lot of Nigerians, to help Nigeria move forward in terms of military and military hardwares? Would you have done that? I bet you no, you would not have. The reason you would not have is just the single reason that you hate the Igbos. Because it is only the Igbos who would have helped Nigeria come out of this situation we found ourselves now. Let me explain to you. During the last civil war we had, in fact, after the civil war, everything was okay. A group of Igbos, led by Professor Nwale, went to the office of the president then, Yakubu Gowon, and made these two propositions. They made a case for a National Youth Service Corps that we have today. In fact, it has outlived almost all the federal programs we have, because the concept came from an Igbo man and Yakubu Gowon bought into it. The leader of that delegation was Professor Nwale. Another proposition they made to the federal government, during the war, the Igbos were blockaded. they were able to produce almost all the hardwares, all the military, all the arms that they use, from the bullet, the gun, from the guns, the whatever they used during that war was produced locally by the Igbos. In fact, that they were fighting that war, the press, the British press, was reporting all over the world, beaming in England. I mean, the kind of inventions that the Igbos were churning out to fight the war. There was a case when the Igbos needed an ally, needed the Russia, United USSR to be an ally to help the Biafran cause. They had a meeting in Russia. Halfway the meeting, when they had a break, according to Professor Wale, what I'm telling you is what Professor Wale said on the 50th year anniversary of after the Civil War. He said it in the very before of all the past presidents leaving, Babangida, Abdul Salam. I think Shehu Shagari, if he was still alive then. In fact, every Obasanjo Gowon, he said it before every one of them, and nobody doubted it. He said, halfway the meeting, the Russian delegation that they were talking with the Biafran delegation spoke to Britain. They asked Britain that these people have come, that the Biafrans have come, asking for their assistance, if they could, if they should offer such assistance. According to Professor Wale, they said the British said no, that they should not support the Biafrans because that they do not, these are his words, that they do not want another Taiwan from Africa. That was why the Russians couldn't help the Biafran cause. Now, like I said, part of the propositions the Igbos, the people of the Eastern region, made to General Yakubu Gowon was this: let us start an arm production company based on what we had discovered during the war in the Civil War. Because the Igbos, the Biafrans, were able to produce their own bombs, their own rockets, their own launchers, their own bullets, everything they use, almost everything they use, they produced. They said, okay, let us stand on this platform and start to produce for Nigeria. We could start selling arms. We will be self-sufficient. Instead of importing arms, we'll be producing it ourselves and have enough to supply to maybe the African countries, the police and all that. Let us start an arm manufacturing company that we could use all that we did, that they are all in paper, that we could use it to open up a large military production company. What happened? Gowon turned it down. Successive government, Obasanjo turned it down. Every government that came up turned it down. Why? Because the Igbos were involved. They said they didn't want the Igbos to hate such a sensitive position. So, because the Igbos were involved, they were never agreed to it. Had they started that, had they started such an arm production company in Nigeria, headed by Igbos with Igbo ingenuity, Boko Haram would not have messed Nigeria up the way they did. So, Nigeria continues. In fact, let me read to you the presentation or the paper Chukwuemeka Odumewu Ojukwu delivered in Lagos after his return. He titled it the 3 years of freedom. The 3 years that the Igbos had the freedom to do things their own way, what they achieved during the Civil War. Listen to it, and I quote: in the 3 years of war, necessity gave back to invention. During those 3 years of heroic bounds, we leaped across the great chasm that separate knowledge from know-how. We built rockets and we designed delivery systems. We guided our rockets, we guided them far, and we guided them accurately. For 3 years blockade, without hope of import, we maintained all our vehicles. We extracted and refined petrol. Individuals refined petrol in their back gardens. We built and maintained our airports. We maintained them under heavy bombardments. Despite the heavy bombardment, we recovered quickly after each raid, that we were able to maintain the record of the busiest airport in the continent of Africa. We spoke to the world through telecommunication system engineered by local ingenuity. The world heard us and spoke back to us. We built armored cars, tanks. We modify aircraft from trainers to fighters, from passengers train to bombers in the 3 years of freedom. What was this trying to tell you? The Igbos were able to transform. In fact, they were able to hijack one of the planes belonging to Nigerian Airways. That plane, they turned it into a bomber. Some of they turned it into a bomber and were using it to bomb targets. He said they built their own rockets, built the launchers, and fired them, guided them accurately. These are the things fit. No African country, no black nation of the world has been able to try after 50 years or getting to 60 years now. This would have elevated Nigeria, but the hatred of the Igbos, of which you are one of the haters, will not let Nigeria move. Nigeria cannot take a good decision as long as the Igbos are involved. This is what hatred means. This is what hatred brings to a nation. So thank you and God bless you. Bako.